Inspiration, clarity, confidence, and wholehearted growth strategies. Welcome to Your Next Chapter, the show especially for women discovering, deepening, and expanding their next chapters in business and life. If this is you, then hit subscribe now. I'm your host, Angela Rasmus, and I'm so glad you're here. It's the time of the year for gift giving, and so I have 4 of them for you. They are of the digital variety, but I'm sure that you're really going to enjoy them. If you pop over to angelarasmus.com/resources, what you'll find is 3 evergreen and 1 special gift right now. The first of these is perfect for using when you are planning for your best year in business ever. You'll find the Review and Renew Replay training series. The other 3, number 1 is your journey board. Absolutely perfect if you are ready to step into the next chapter of your business, but you're not quite sure what that's going to look like. In fact, you may not even have a business yet, but you have a burning desire to create one. Your journey board will help you create a vision and purpose statement where you've looked back through your past, got grounded in your present, and are looking to the future. You'll also find the E in Audio Confidence book. If you just want to give yourself a burst of inspiration, there's fabulous stories there of other women who have stepped into the biggest, brightest, boldest version of themselves, and you can too. And the last one, the Businesswoman's Breakthrough Guide. Now that's really for women who have an existing business but have just got a bit stuck. Like the growth seems to have tapered off, and you know that there is a gap that needs to close, but you just can't find it. Well, the 4 most common gaps are in this fabulous resource, and I'm sure one of them will get you moving again. So those are my digital gifts for you this Christmas time. I hope that one or all of them are incredibly helpful for you. Hello there, and welcome to the final episode of the podcast for 2019. In fact, the final episode for the decade. Can you believe that? It's 2020 pretty soon. Now, I seem to remember so clearly when it was about to be the year 2000. It's so hard to believe that 20 years have gone under the bridge since then. But wherever you are right now when you're listening to this episode, I really hope that you are on the cusp of having a break and putting your feet up and relaxing a little over the festive period. And no matter how you choose to celebrate at this time of the year, I really wish you so much love and joy. And of course, at this time of the year, we tend to, once all the festivities and the frivolity is to one side, we spend some time reflecting and really thinking about the year that was and the year that will be. Now, I mentioned this on a previous podcast when I was talking about Review and Renew, which is all about business planning. But there's also reviewing and renewing yourself as well, because we have to have goals beyond business. I mean, our business and our life are definitely entwined, but there's so much more to us, isn't there? I mean, I'm looking back and have just returned with my family from Canberra, the capital in Australia. Our son has just graduated from ANU, the Australian National University, this week. And so he is on the cusp of his own next chapter as well. Our daughter is just entering her final year of school. And I turned 50. It really felt like I was stepping through into a whole new threshold. Part of my own experience this year was about really understanding that everything we need is inside of us. And a lot of things that have happened with me this year have been because of working with some really interesting people, both the clients I've served who have inspired me with their energy and their enthusiasm and their vision and their courage and their plans and all of those things, and also the people that I've chosen to support me as I've moved forward this year. They've really helped me understand that, as I said, everything's inside of you, and to get access to layers of information and insight and wisdom that were always there, but perhaps the curtain just needed to be pulled back. And I really believe that is true for you as well, without a doubt. It's not a case that we run around trying to find our purpose, is it? It's a case of just pulling back some extra layers and discovering more and more about ourselves as we move on. So one of the things that I did probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, when I was in this musing and considering sort of phase, was I created a next chapter manifesto. Now, a manifesto is it's a culmination of all the different things that you stand for and you believe in and that you want to have happen and I guess be represented by your business. And I'm really feeling really connected to what it is that I've written here. And I wanted to take out, I guess, this podcast with walking you through and explaining some of these pieces, because these are really the things that I believe in, the core ideas that have guided my work ever since I started working with women just like you. And I guess I'd also like to have this as a form of inspiration for you to create your manifesto as well. Now, you can use these in a couple of ways. They can certainly connect you more deeply to your own purpose and your own work, your philosophies, your values, your way of looking at the world. But they can also be shared, as I'm doing now, with your audience, with your community, with your world. Because what we're looking for when we do this, when we share our inside thoughts and our hearts, is we're hoping for resonance. By that I mean that you may listen to this manifesto and feel more deeply connected to who I am and what I stand for, even though we've never met. Now, I'm really lucky there's a lot of people who do listen to the podcast who I have had the great pleasure of meeting. And that can be on a Zoom call, when we've connected across the oceans thanks to technology. It may have been at one of the salon dinners that I've held this year in Sydney and Canberra and Melbourne and even Auckland when I popped home to visit my family. Or it may have been that we've had the delight of working together face to face here at my home, running a VIP day or doing some group coaching. But even if we haven't had that joy of meeting yet, the resonance that I'm hoping that we will create when I share with you these philosophies, that can open a new door for you. And the same will happen when you take that chance, when you step into that, as Brené Brown calls it, the ordinary courage of being vulnerable and really opening up and letting the world see what it is that you do stand for. And the beautiful thing about this is that the flip side of resonance is people who go, you know what? That's not really for me. And that's absolutely perfect. Hopefully you've picked up on my message this year that I've said quite often, is that it is not your job to run around trying to convince and convert people to your philosophies and the services you have to offer. It's just about you contributing and communicating what they are. And when that resonance happens, then your most aligned clients will step forward when they're ready to work with you. So that, my darling, is the case with you. If you listen to this and feel, yes, total resonance, perhaps 2020 will be the year in which I can become a part of your support team. And if not yet, that's absolutely fine as well. We're on our own path, on our own journey, and we help each other when and where we can. So what's a manifesto all about? Well, as I mentioned, it is those core ideas that guide your work. And I want to talk you through those now. Now, my beautiful marketing manager has created a gorgeous download. If this is a manifesto that really speaks to your heart, you can print out a copy and you can pop it up on your corkboard for the new year. So you literally just go to angelarasmus.com/manifesto and you'll find it right there. But here's the thoughts that I want to share with you. So the first one, next chapters are built on skinned knees, where breakdowns become breakthroughs. Now really, that's all about my belief that, especially at this stage of life, no one gets to here without having a heck of a lot of wisdom, insights, and lessons. The thing is that when we have when we make mistakes, or when we face challenges that really bring us to our knees, we stand up, we move through them, even if they're painful, and we learn so much. And the beauty of that is that you can then help others. You can sweeten and shorten the journey for them by sharing those breakthroughs that you've experienced. And this is really because I believe that the world is a continuum, not a hierarchy. There's not people above you or below you. There's simply people that have started before you, and their job is to turn around and extend a hand to you as you're coming through. And just the same, there are people behind you who started after you. And those breakdowns and breakthroughs that you have, you turn around and gift those to the people coming behind you. So that's the concept of next chapters being built on skinned knees. Now that brings me to the next point, where I really believe that you need to allow yourself to be fully seen and to put good things into the world, because it's through your story that others will find their path. And what a joy and a privilege that is. Now that's really a case of believing in the value of your story as a unique woman, a unique individual. We don't want to hide our stories. We want to share them. We want to speak with honesty and openness and courage. And And so other people could quietly or even cheerfully, joyfully listen to what it is that you have to share and feel inspired to recognize they're not alone and that they too can move through whatever challenge they're experiencing. And little asterisk here, we're not talking all the time about, great hardship. It can just be that you have found an easier, softer way of creating a solution. And that sharing that story may help people just get to their goals a little quicker than they would have otherwise. Okay. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast episode, and this is point 3, that everything you need is inside of you now. Search for it. Give yourself permission to shine. Okay, now this is, I guess, a lot of the learning where for so long I kept looking outside of myself, thinking that, the perfect answer for the perfect business was out there, that somebody else had it. And all I needed to do was find that and everything would change for me. And I guess I've learned definitely over the last few years in business that that's just not the truth. Now, I do believe that we can start, when we're starting off on a new venture, we really need a bit of a formula just to sort of provide those pegs in the ground for us, to give us that paradigm that we need to work within for a short amount of time. Then as we gain that confidence, we exchange that for a framework. And then as we go further on, we actually let go of the framework and we embrace true freedom. And that is that whole concept that everything is inside of you. Have a look for it. Find that freedom and then shine. That means don't censor yourself. Stand up for what you believe in. Share your opinions. Share your story. Because think of yourself as a lighthouse. And someone once said to me that lighthouses don't go running around trying to find people to save. They just stand there and shine. That's what I want you to do as well. Which brings us to the next point. Self-belief is your superpower. Your worth is unquestionable. Stay connected to your truth and always speak to yourself with compassion and encouragement. Now, I've been on the self-belief and self-worth soapbox for years. It is absolutely my belief that we need to connect to our self-worth with no questions at all. Now, this is really my own example of Next Chapters being built on skinned knees. I've shared in the past my story of overcoming addiction, and I'm 13 years in recovery now, which I'm incredibly proud of. But until I could step over that threshold and really begin to reclaim my worthiness, there was no way that I could build a business and a life that was a true reflection of who I am. But now, yes, I stay connected to my truth, and my self-talk, my dialogue has far more compassion and encouragement in it than it ever did. I think we really, really need to watch that inner voice, and we need to make sure that we have unquestionable positive self-regard for ourselves. I know for sure that the way that I used to speak to myself was horrendous, and I will not tolerate that anymore, and neither should you. At the end of the day, you are the person who is beside yourself all the time. So that consistency of positive self-regard is just absolutely essential. So make a habit of it. Make a habit of speaking to yourself with compassion and encouragement. The next piece is cultivating a circle of support. Surround yourself with people who are real and connect to them deeply through experience. Share with genuine vulnerability. Circle of support, especially as a female business owner, is so important. A lot of us, just like I am right now, we work at home or somewhere in an office quite often alone, and that can be a real recipe for self-doubt. So surrounding yourself with people who are on a similar journey to you, where you can truly connect and share, is such an important part of our journey. You can do that with an online group, but get face-to-face as much as you can. Our families are gorgeous. They're part of the reason why we do what we do, but they don't always get why we do what we do. So getting surrounded with people who do, there's a lot of do's in that, is really important. So if you don't have that group, that circle of support around you at the moment, start with one person. Reach out to someone who could become a belief buddy. Perhaps someone you've become, friends with online when you've seen them in a Facebook group or whatever the case may be, and say, hey, let's connect more in 2020. I'd love you to be my belief buddy, and I'd love to be yours. give it a go. It's definitely worth it. Oh, and by the way, of course, I do have a Facebook group that you are very, very welcome to come and join. It's a beautiful oasis online. It's called the Next Chapter Community. I'll pop it onto the page for this podcast episode, but also just Google it, Your Next Chapter Community, and you shall find us. Okay, on to the next point. Fear is only excitement without breathing. So take that breath and act confidently and with courage, even when it's hard. Now, I can't remember where that quote came from, where someone told me that that's what excitement is and that's what fear is. And the idea that acting with confidence comes before feeling confident. Now, that is from the concept of ACT, Acceptance Commitment Therapy, and training from Russ Harris that I did a few years ago. And it is so true. If you sit around and wait until you're ready, if you wait until you feel utterly confident to launch the business, to bring out the new service, to raise your rates, to do any of those things that you were thinking about, if you wait until it is perfectly ready, it won't happen, darling. Take the step, take that breath, act confidently, and then the actual feelings of confidence will follow. I absolutely promise. I've learned that one at the coalface myself. The next point, be generous, be grateful. These are the currencies of connection and abundance. Now, generosity is one of my key values, and I always focus on giving as much as I can to build trust and to be of service to my community and to my audience. My belief is that if you are generous, that will come back to you in spades. And if you are grateful, that absolutely underpins it as well. Now, a gratitude list is something that you may have heard about from lots of people, and it's certainly something that I talk about a lot. But there's a little twist on it just to share with you today. A gratitude list at night is when I do it, 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for today, and then I end that with one thing that I'm proud of. Because gratitude, in terms of the list, are often things that you're observing or experiencing, things that happen without your actual control, inverted commas. But something you're proud of, something that you have done yourself, just is like the icing on the cake, and it builds up that confidence muscle as well. Gratitude really helps you filter for the good, to focus on the good stuff in your life. And that overall lifts your levels of optimism and positivity, and that has an incredible ripple effect on the rest of the world. So go and grab yourself a gratitude journal and start it as soon as you can. The next point, there is no perfect. There is no magic formula. There's only the right way for you, which you'll find through experience, failures, and hindsight. Okay, this comes back to what I was talking about before, that moving from formulas to frameworks to freedom, understanding that there are things that can guide us in business. There are some best practices. It is great to invest in getting your strategies and your vision clear. However, there is no here's the 5 steps, do these, and it all comes together. It's about finding what aligns with you. It's about wholehearted marketing that is using your strengths and leveraging your values, and you'll find out through your own experience what works and what doesn't. And you'll repeat the things that do work, and you'll tweak the ones or let go of the ones that don't. But looking back with hindsight, I love that expression, reverse gapping yourself, recognizing how far you've come is such an important part of moving forward for the next chapter of you and your business. The next point is to respond, don't react. Find the power of the pause and allow yourself time to grow. This whole journey is an evolution. It's not a revolution. Now, the power of the pause is an incredibly valuable thing that I've learned actually in the recovery movement. The questions that we ask ourselves are, does it need to be said? Does it need to be said now? Does it need to be said by me? Now, filtering some of my thoughts through that wing net has really helped me enormously. Now, I believe overall that our first reaction is almost involuntary to anything, but then we can pause and then we can thoughtfully respond. And having that ability to respond gives you that space and grace to grow. So give it a go. Really try and respond to what you see happening around you. Always stand for something bigger than your services. They are a reflection of your greater purpose and vision. So you're more than what you sell. This is about being really connected to your why. Now, I know if you're listening to this, if you're a wee part of my world, then meaningful work that makes a difference for others is incredibly important to you. That balance of contribution and fulfillment, you really relate to that. So understanding what it is that you stand for and having that as your vision and purpose anchor, that will mean your business is far more sustainable on the long haul. Okay. And remember, this is the next point, that growth doesn't always mean bigger. It can mean deeper. I'm a huge proponent for small and profitable businesses. Now, I've been there. I had an agency. I bought an office. I had a full-time team of staff. It didn't work for me in the way I wanted it to. It was successful. There was a great turnover and there was a lot of growth, but I had moved further and further away from a more balanced life, from a life where my business complemented rather than commandeered it. Okay. And so you don't have to buy into the bigger if it's not for you. On the other hand, if it is, if you do have a massive vision that you want to pour all of your heart and soul to, that is absolutely perfect as well. Okay, because it's your version of success. But this point in particular is just about reassuring you that if you want your business to stay small and profitable, that is great. Okay, it's very much a personal choice. Which brings me to this next point. Create your own definition of success. Make meaning your mission, contribution your focus, and fulfillment your reward. Know that profit is the result of right actions. Okay, that one, I could go on about this one for a very long time, but that real combination of contribution and fulfillment is what I have heard from almost every single woman that I have worked with. We want to contribute. We want to have meaningful work. We want to feel fulfilled and buoyed up and significant by what it is that we're bringing to the world. But we cannot also ignore the fact that we deserve to be well financially rewarded for the value that we bring to the world. There is nothing wrong with making money from your gifts, from the things that you offer to your clients. But that profit will be the result of you taking the right actions. Which brings me to the next point, that your business needs to serve you just as much as you serve your clients. Sustaining your energy and enthusiasm is the goal. So by that I mean, if I come back to my example of the marketing agency, I was serving, but my business was not serving me. It was burning me out. Absolutely, which is why I changed it. So it's really important for you not to experience that, not to have resentment for all the time that you're putting into your business and not receiving back. There has to be both sides of the coin. And because I want to help you build a sustainable business, not a fly by night or a flash in the pan. I want to sustain your energy and your enthusiasm. That's a key goal. So step back over this period. If your business doesn't feel as though it is taking care of you, then there's definitely some changes that are required. The second to last point is step up and launch the ideas that are swirling in your head and your heart. Serve the people who need this now because they're waiting for you. Now, this could mean that you're right at the beginning of your next chapter, starting a new business right now. But what I see more often than not is that it's people who have a current business and want to change it. They've got these ideas for how it could be different, how you could serve in a different way, how you could bring in new services, you could serve new audiences. There's so many possibilities and you're constantly thinking about them. But sometimes it is hard to get that clarity of your thoughts. Well, take the first step. Those people that you're thinking of serving are waiting for you. They do need what you have. It's just a case of your packaging that up, becoming visible and extending those invitations. Because you know what? You've got this. You can absolutely step into the next chapter of your business. And that may be that 2020 means a whole new direction for you. Or it may mean just a wee little tweak. But either way, I want to know what will unfold in that next chapter for you. I would love to hear from you. I would love to meet you in the Next Chapter community. I'd love to be on your support team by working with me in a VIP day, in a mastermind, with some personal coaching, whatever it is that meets you where you are now. So that's what my manifesto is all about. There's lots of thoughts there that are really from my heart to yours. They're the things that I absolutely believe in, the core ideas that guide my work, and I hope that they resonate with you. But I also hope, as I mentioned at the beginning, that you consider creating your own manifesto. It can really give you that sense of satisfaction when you look at your thoughts out on paper like that, or on screen as they are right now, when you feel really connected to those beliefs and anchored in that purpose and that value that you're bringing to the world. And the opportunity to then share it with your audience is a delight as well. So look, utilize mine as an inspiration, a jumping off point, and then start to think of your own. I guess a way of starting is to think about what are the challenges or the problems that you feel your audience is facing at the moment, and then flip them. Think about how you can solve those problems and lead your audience into a new vision. I can feel myself losing my voice. There was a lot of talking that I've done just now. But I guess at the end of the day, I just want to pause now. And as I said at the beginning, I want to wish you so much joy, so much love, so much success, so much fulfillment in 2020. Everything that you need is inside of you right now. And when you channel it, take self-belief as your superpower and move forward into 2020 with confidence and clarity, nothing can stop you from being the lighthouse that you are here to be. So thank you so much for spending your time, for investing your time and listening to the podcast, whether this be the first episode that you've heard or whether you've popped in and heard all 107. I'm taking a wee break now to recalibrate and to revitalize myself, to spend some time with my gorgeous family. My words for 2020 are simplification and space. They're the two things that I really want for myself so that I can allow my creativity more room to breathe and grow in 2020. I wonder what your words are going to be. What are the ones that are going to guide you throughout the year? Something else to come and share with us in the Your Next Chapter Facebook group and our community. So thank you again. Have a wonderful break, and I will speak to you in 2020. Until then, this is Angela Raspas. Take care. Thanks for listening to the Your Next Chapter podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd love you to share it, perhaps leave a review in iTunes, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're looking for your own business breakthrough at the moment, then I've got something special for you. Visit angelaraspas.com/breakthrough guide. That e-guide takes you through the 4 key gaps to close that may be stopping you from reaching the next level in your business. I hope it's extremely helpful, and I look forward to talking with you again on the next episode.